She's a best-selling author and life coach, obsessed with helping women to silence their insecurities, build healthy boundaries, and fearlessly pursue the life and career of their dreams. Join her as she provides you with strategies and real-life tips to create your best life. Welcome to Fearless Fridays with Marianne.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Meet the Authors. Today, I have a beautiful young lady with me, and let's jump right in and start chatting. Hello, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good, good. So let's just jump right in. Introduce yourself. Tell us who you are.
I'm Anani. I'm from upstate New York. I was born and raised here. I'm currently in the medical profession, pursuing writing.
Nice. I love that. So how will you describe yourself in one word?
I am resilient.
Can you expand on that a little bit? On that, why that word?
Because no matter what I go through, and there's been some stuff, so no matter what I go through, I always bounce back. I always overcome. So
what would you say?
Little things don't get me down.
Yeah, that's good. What would you say has been your biggest failure and your lesson in that failure?
Well, I ran from the Lord for a long time. So I guess my failure to walk with him would have been, there's a lot of lessons in that. I did learn after I've accepted him and after I decided to be more serious about that relationship, that those things that I was chasing before, people, money, whatever escape I had to fulfill my joy and my peace and love, that it just wasn't as authentic as it is now that I have the Lord. So everything that I've obtained has come through him instead of another vessel. So the biggest lesson would be just making sure that I don't fall away from him and keep my sights set on the blessings that he has.
And I think the beautiful thing about a relationship with the Lord is that you don't have to start from the beginning.
Right.
It's like you just, forgive me, Lord, and just keep going from that moment.
Well, he absolutely accepts me as I am, and nothing I do is a surprise to him.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. What advice would you give to your 18-year-old self?
To let go of my past and to just love myself the way that I expect others to love me.
Yeah, that's good. What is your favorite self-care practice?
Prayer. Prayer, and outside of that, it's the sunsets, it's the quiet, it's just being at peace and, understanding how that day went and what are my challenges now, where do we go from here? So really taking care more of my mindset versus, pedicures and manicures. It's making sure that my mind's right.
And I love that because oftentimes when people talk about self-care, is about a day at the spa, massages, facials, and things like that. So your focus is more inner than it is outer.
Always.
Yeah, that's beautiful. If money was not a factor, what would you do with your time?
Travel the world. I go see sunsets all over the place.
Is there a place that's like on your bucket list that is like, I have to do this? Like, even if it's just once in a lifetime, where would that place be?
I would probably say Ireland, but I can say that, but I have to say I'm not actively getting those goals. I'm still trying to find that place in me where it's okay to go. It's okay to plan. It's okay. So, I'm still growing and that's okay. But if money weren't a factor and I could hop on a plane, I'd definitely probably start in Ireland and go from there.
I like that. Is there anything specific that draws you to Ireland?
My Irish heritage.
Okay. Nice.
Sorry.
No problem. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Relocating out of New York somewhere. I don't know where, but preferably on some water in a warmer climate so I could be outside every night.
More sunsets.
More sunsets. That's right. And sunrises.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
so true. And what is your favorite thing about yourself and why?
The favorite thing about myself would be my humor. I'm pretty funny. I like to entertain myself. So, the more time I spend with myself, I realize that like I have to kind of I have to accept myself, and accepting myself is everything, my faults and my strengths. And so a lot of people, I think, get hung up when they're like, what do you like about yourself? Because apparently society says we're not supposed to like ourselves.
Yeah.
But that's the great thing about being peculiar, as the word says, right? We're peculiar, we're odd, and I do like myself, and I really enjoy my sense of humor. And bringing that to the table, it's like a joy. Like you could make somebody laugh, and for that one moment, if they're hurting, they're not hurting in that moment,
I like that. What makes you passionate and gets you motivated?
God and my family. I wouldn't do what I do if I didn't have, my children or my grandchildren. And God wouldn't be too pleased if I just sat here and did nothing. That's not what we're called to do. We have to step off the boat.
So shifting gears a little bit, why did you decide to join this anthology project?
I have a couple reasons for that, actually. So the first one, when I was younger, I would write and I would keep journals, and then they would be found, and then the stuff inside would be used against me. So this was a challenge for me to put forth something that I've always had a passion for, and to be able to come alongside other women who have stories to tell, who have, I want to hear their stories, but I also want to be a part of that. So if I could be in with that, like that's a pretty big blessing. I believe when God opened that door that he was calling me to say, hey, it's time for you to talk. Because for so long I didn't talk. I just went about my life and like let other people figure it out, because I think along the way I didn't have a lot of support in supporting how I felt. So I almost passed that to other people, like, oh, you'll figure it out. But now I think I've come into a season where it's time to talk. It's time to start helping people heal. And joining the project, I think, was a great door of many that I'm going to embrace.
I love that. I love that. What is one key takeaway from your book that you want your readers to capture?
Forgiveness starts and ends with ourselves. If you offend me, I don't need you to change. I just need to not harbor that. It will definitely hinder where you're going to go if you expect that somebody's going to come back and say, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. Without telling us the story behind your chapter, using 3 words, how would you describe your chapter?
Freeing, relatable, and illuminating.
I like that. Especially illuminating. I like
Right.
that. Was it difficult to write your chapter? I know that you alluded a little bit into that. And if it was difficult, how did you move past it?
So in terms of finding like the language and the right amount of detail versus the less amount of detail, because, when you're joining a project like this, there's guidelines versus writing on your own. So when you're writing on your own, you just go free and you do what you want to do. So that was difficult. As far as the emotional difficulty, not so much, because like in a negative way, the emotions that went were like joy. And like, I was almost a little bit of pride, not too much, but I was proud of myself because I reflect back on all those situations. I had to think about them and who did I forgive and why did I forgive? And I was like, yeah, girl, like you did that, So I actually got a boost of confidence doing that. So for real, it's more just me being able to share my experience and hoping that it's relatable to other people, that they can draw hope and encouragement from it. But it's like exciting for me.
And that's beautiful. And like you said, not in a proudful way, but it's good to be able to say, yes, you did that.
Right.
Right. So, because oftentimes we go through things that just keeps us stuck and just keeps us down. And if we never get to that place, that thing is going to continue to hold us back.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So finding the topic was emotional, because it was like, what do I really want to write about? Where do I start? But then as I started, like, I had so many different things, and it was just more or less like, I wouldn't even be where I am if I didn't forgive all of these things. So to talk about all of those things, all of those pivotal moments as like individual occurrences, but how did I get through all of them as a whole?
Yeah.
And that's when it's forgiveness.
So now that you have written a chapter in a book, do you think that you will pursue writing a whole book?
Yes, I think that the pursuit was put in my heart before I found this. I actually have started writing, and they're different pieces. They're all different. But I just didn't know what God was doing with it. But the laptop that I'm on now was something that God had blessed me with, and said, girl, just start writing. Just get it off your chest, get it out. It's safe. You're okay. And so I did that, and I set everything up, and I'm like, all right, Lord, I don't know where we're going, but I'm sure that he's going to open that for me, and you will see more. I'm thinking more along the lines of like a devotional, or like not so much a story, just maybe just a bunch of stories, something like that.
That's beautiful. And I am very big on celebrating. You know that, me being a coach, I believe that everyone needs to be celebrating, especially when you accomplish, a goal, something major. So how do you plan on celebrating this accomplishment?
I'm not a celebratory person of myself. I have to say, I have a hard time finding like that. So I don't have any big plans. But I do believe that God has it figured out, and something will come through, because that seems to be it. Yeah. I've had lots of moments where I should be celebrating myself and my accomplishments, but I sometimes, in that sense, maybe I take life a little too seriously, and always planning for the next step instead of taking a breath in between. But my circle is really good about celebrating me. So in that moment, I'm like, all right, I'll let it go, and we're just going to, see how this rides out. But I think the celebrating piece is really just, I can't wait. I just can't wait to get the book out. Yeah. And I can't wait to share with these women. And I can't wait to see how many women embrace it and their lives get changed. Like, that to me is the celebration, is the party of, look at this, read this. It's impactful. And you're just going to have to like get your hands on it.
Yeah, and just get ready for the second wave of emotions, because yes, when you see the book, when you get the book in your hands, and then when you start getting those emails or those inbox messages, like, I read your chapter and it was so moving, thank you. That's a whole nother level of, emotions and things like that to work through.
That's helpful. I wasn't thinking that way, because honestly, I think about, and I think probably a lot of people might be able to relate to this, is that a lot of the things I do go unnoticed. Mm-hmm. So I don't think about people going, hey, I read that and I really like that, or this moved me or that moved me, because a lot of the things that I put out there, it seems like just I'm not noticed. I'm not out there in the public eye that way. But that's a great hope. And I look forward to that. I look forward to communicating with other women and sharing and hearing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely. So what has been the best advice that you have ever received?
Just try. Just try. What's the worst that's going to happen? They're going to tell you no.
Right.
So that was something that my mom, who she just recently passed away, writing in the midst of this project. And I hold on to that. I hold on to her saying, just try it. Just ask. What's the worst they're going to say is no, And I've shared that with a couple people, and they're like, okay, let me just try it then. And it was never a no. It's always okay, sure. Yes. And that door opens for them. So I will continue to put that onto my children, carry it with me, like, so simple, but it works.
Because a lot of people always think, what if I fail? But then on the upside is, what if I succeed?
So the failure piece is like, I understand. So I'm not downplaying anybody who has a fear of failure. I think we're all naturally, again, it's a societal thing, because God doesn't tell us to worry about that, right? Mm-hmm. So it's just in the way that we're molded throughout the years. But failure is just opportunity. Failure is to come back stronger. Failure is to, see where you could fix it and make it better. So I don't believe there is failure in trying, because as long as you try, it might not be the answer that you expected, but it's definitely an answer, and it's just on how you're going to take that.
Right. That's so true. So what do you think is your unique skill that has helped you to get to where you are today?
Well, that's a funny question to follow the one that we were just talking about, because persistence. I think it is a skill, more so than you could, talk the best game. But if you're not persistent at what you're doing, everything is not just going to come because you want it there, or just because, hey, I'm entitled. We're not entitled to anything. So if you're not persistent, quick backstory, I once upon a time applied for a scholarship to nursing school. I got denied, and I was disappointed. And I said, I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to, I'm not doing this. This isn't meant for me. But then I thought about it, and I was like, just reapply. So I reapplied, and I guess that season they accepted me, went through nursing school, got my scholarship, and, got high honors. And, so if I wouldn't have persisted and I wouldn't have kept going, I wouldn't even be where I am right now, just because one person said, no, not this time around.
Just keep trying. What has been your biggest accomplishment?
My biggest accomplishment has been, I would say, my family. And I was a mom to 3 girls when I was 20. So on my 21st birthday, I had 3 children. And at that point, people looked at me because I initially became a mom. I became pregnant at 14 and had my daughter at 15. So having these 3 girls and still being able to continue my education, still keep my persistence, and coming to a point in my life where I can actually provide for my family and I can be a stable pillar for them. I don't even know if that's all my accomplishment. It's my accomplishment is keeping that drive, keeping that persistent, and remaining faithful and having hope. But thank God that I stayed on that path with him, and I did find him, because I really know in my heart, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be halfway near where I am today, if I'd even be here today.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And as we get ready to close up, where can people connect with you at and learn more about you and grab a copy of the book?
Right now, I am on Instagram. It's just Anani on Instagram. I am working on a website. And so as soon as I finalize all of those pieces, that'll be on Instagram. And I do have a personal Facebook page, more than happy to share that for people to message me if they would like. And that's under Anani Palante, because we're always moving forward. So, I'd be excited to have people reach out and ask questions and share their stories.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being with us here today.
Well, thanks for having me, Marianne.
You're welcome. All right, everyone. I hope that you enjoyed the conversation with Anani and learning more about her. Make sure that you connect with her on Instagram, and I will be sure to have her Instagram handle in the show notes. And as always, remember, you are fearless, you are fabulous, you are a priority, and you matter. Until next time. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that you found this episode inspiring and motivating. Don't forget to leave a comment so you can win a fabulous prize at the end of the month. You can leave a review on iTunes, or you can head over to YouTube or my Fearless Living Coach page on Facebook if you are an Android user. And as always, remember, you are fearless, you are fabulous, you are a priority, and you matter. See you next time.